Support Service Solutions Strategy and Transition, or S4T, is a research project funded by the EPSRC and led by the University of Cambridge Institute for Manufacturing. It was designed to help overcome the challenges for companies and organisations moving away from product-only business models towards the provision of service. This has become known as servitization. One such organisation was our research partner and co-funder, BAE Systems. As Britain's largest manufacturer, it's faced with a decline in demand for new equipment, the products that it makes. Its future profitability depends on how to avoid the increasingly high costs of designing and building new products, and how to increase the useful lifespan of its existing products such as aircrafts, ships and tanks to meet its customers' demands. This is why BAE Systems turned to Cambridge and its partners on the S4T project.
Servitization is a business model that's evolved in manufacturing organisations over the last 10 to 20 years, particularly those organisations that are seeking to add more value to their products by wrapping services around it. And in some cases, that wrapping of services around products has got to the extreme point where the organisation no longer sells the product at all, but in fact sells the service under contract. And so, particularly, say for example in the defence industry over the last 10 years, this has been a mandated specification from the defence organisations that they no longer want to buy equipment or spare parts, but actually want to buy contracted services to supply that equipment over a period of time. We wondered where the interest for the Institute for Manufacturing was, but actually it became rather obvious as we went on that it was the future for manufacturing businesses in a number of sectors. So how do we do this? We have an organisation that for 30, 40, 50 years has been built around manufacturing products. So their whole organisational structure, the way they run their business, their information systems, their technologies, and actually their whole interface to the customer is built around selling products.
So what do we mean by service?
Well, if we use an example such as a stapler, let's make you a stapler salesman. If you sold a stapler, you'd be thinking about value in exchange. How much can I sell my stapler for? And maximising the profit on that. If we start to think about service, we think, what do you as the customer use the stapler for? Holding paper together. Then we start to think about the value. The product example is value in exchange. The service example is value in use. What do you use the stapler for? Holding paper together. How else can we achieve that? We're actually talking about binding services, so we unlock a whole new area of value. When we transfer that into the military domain, we can think of, we've got the product, maybe the aircraft. We might have an availability contract, which is the product, service, tangible, intangible mix. And then we have the training, which is very much the intangible. Well, if we look at the attack contract example for BAE Systems, they've moved from selling the Tornado aircraft into providing hours of availability. They have to provide a hot jet ready for the RAF to use for a certain number of hours. So they're very much concerned with the value in use of the aircraft as opposed to just an exchange relationship. Well, a single company can't provide these services. It comes from a whole universe, a network of different organisations, subunits of the company and the customer themselves providing their resources, and together they build that service.
Providing the customer with this service or course requires a complex network of independent organisations.
We've got all these different organisations trying to deliver this together, but obviously some of them, it's not their day job. Other organisations are absolutely focused on delivering that. What the enterprise image shows is all the different organisations and how they deliver that together. And it gives visibility to some of those who are maybe unaware that their activities are absolutely key to the delivery of this service. We have a front office, back office divide. In the front office, that's where we meet, that's where we share, that's where we co-create the value between the partners. Then each partner also has a back office. That's where all the support structures, the administration, all the things that allow that front office to function, that's where that happens.
The provision of accurate, complete and timely information to all who need it is key to the provision of these complex services. It requires the accurate recording of stock levels, usage and repairs, which are cumulative over many years and difficult to track, especially in challenging operation conditions like a war zone.
It was difficult enough when these organisations were just making products and selling, managing their own information internally. But when you move into a service provision environment, suddenly you've got multiple organisations involved in the service provision. You've got the customer actually collecting some of the data for the service provider. So the management of data has to be done on a very organised and formal manner. Well, the approach we took in this project was to develop a formalised tool for capturing information requirements, and what we decided to do was look at the performance of the service. And this tool, the so-called 12-box model for information requirements, was used to actually provide a system for an organisation to structure the information they needed to capture, which they could then go off and use in conjunction with their information systems to determine whether they had adequate capabilities in place for information capture.
Assets such as aircraft and vehicles must be constantly maintained and enhanced to meet the customer's needs. BAE Systems has extensive experience of updating existing equipment to the latest standards at relatively low costs. S4T researchers have enabled companies like BAE Systems to design upgrades and enhancements more efficiently than in the past. The work has also led to the maintenance dashboard, an integrated approach which will allow the Navy to use a single system to plan the most efficient schedule, combining maintenance and technological upgrades of its fleet. One advantage of buying complex integrated services is that the customer transfers some of the risk of cost overruns to the supplier. Contract providers agree prices years in advance, so there is an inherent risk in costing these contracts correctly. S4T partner Cranfield University has been tackling this problem and finding solutions.
Contracts actually vary. From small contracts, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds, to millions, hundreds of millions of pounds in reality. So these are very big contracts we deal with in defence world. And we are predicting or trying to predict cost of providing an engineering service like maintenance, like repair, like overhaul and training for an extended period of 7 to 10 years, and sometimes it can be even longer.
Providing complex services relies on a wide range of professionals with skills from engineering, business and marketing.
The most crucial aspect of this project is to really start to see the world from the customer's point of view and understanding the way they realize the value provided by the firm. It would fundamentally change the way you think about your organization, about what you're actually delivering, because it changes value from being asset ownership to achieving outcomes with your customer, and that fundamentally would change the organizational structure and require, to some extent, redesign.
Cambridge and the university partners continue to support BAE Systems and other companies' offer and use of complex engineering services.
Well, I guess the key highlights have been around the support that we've had on key programs to help us partnering with our customers. So use of the academics to facilitate joint working with UK MOD, taking us through a process that has really paid dividends. The key challenge will be around the future requirements of our customer. I think there are lots of pressures on defence budgets around the world. The range of services that we provide will respond to that challenge. We will be able to offer services that will save money for our customers, and we will be able at the same time to offer value-added improvements which will see our customers still having cutting-edge capability.
S4T is providing real answers and real solutions to the most complex business challenges. It's groundbreaking work, and it's helping transform today's manufacturers and engineering companies into the service providers of tomorrow.